So Jayce and his cards and the new Path of Champions game mode just got revealed, and for this video, even though it's a little bit scuffed for me to look at this website, I'm going to go over the cards and give my opinion on them. Mobilex isn't really loading the cards right now, so I'm just going to open them one by one. I'm going to start all the way on the right with Jayce here. We'll open them. And alright, Jayce's level 1 form. He's a 4-mana 4/4 play, Grammy, Quick Attack, or Challenger. You've cast 2 6+ cost spells. When I level up, create an acceleration gate in hand. Let's look at what the acceleration gate is too. Okay, doesn't work right now. Okay, we'll look at the acceleration gate in a bit because I already know what the card does. Jayce as a card is pretty good in my opinion. I don't think you're going to be using him for the Challenger very often unless he gets like a really easy pick off on one of the minions. But because Jayce looks to be synergizing with Lux, that's like the most obvious thing, right? Because Lux cares about 6+ cost spells. Jayce cares about having exactly 2 of those. Having a 4-mana 4/4 quick attack in a region like Demacia with tools like Sharpsight is just pretty good. But if you can't get an easy pick off, then yeah, Challenger is also just a pretty solid choice. As for his level up requirement, it's a little bit harder to do than Lux, obviously, because you need to cast 2 6-cost spells, and they need to actually cost 6 or more instead of just accumulating to 6 mana. When you do that, he goes to level 2, and then he gets the effect each round the first time you cast a 6+ cost spell. Cast it again on the same targets. So this is actually very, very powerful. Somewhat comparable to Karma, except for Karma, it's every spell you have to get to level, or to turn 10 rather. Jayce can potentially do that a lot quicker. And when you double up a spell like Remembrance, like as the most basic example, you get 2 5-cost units on the board, which is insane tempo and can just outright win you the game. When he levels up, it doesn't show right here. Let me actually try to refresh. Maybe it loaded by now. Doesn't look like... No, it didn't load. Okay, so I'll tell you guys. I'll find an image when I edit. Basically, Acceleration Gate is a 6-cost slow spell that gives your entire board +2 attack and quick attack. If they already have quick attack, you give them a random keyword. So yesterday I was visiting some Runeterra streams and people were talking about the new cards. And one thing people do not or did not realize is that if you cast the Acceleration Gate with Jayce on the field, he will double it up. So that isn't a +2 give everything quick attack, that is a +4 attack, give everything quick attack, and then you give them quick attack again, but because they already have it, you give them a random keyword. So you are going to give your entire board +4 attack, quick attack, and 1 random keyword. That is enough to close out a game if you have a board with 3 or more minions. That is an attack that is not going to be answered. As we have seen with Echo though, Piltover is not that good at utilizing boards, so that is why I think that Jayce will most likely find a home with Demacia. However, the first deck I'm going to be playing with Jayce is obviously Victor, because if you've seen Arcane, you'll understand why. And Jayce also does look to synergize a little bit with created cards because, well, we'll get to that later because some of the cards in his package are about creating 6-cost cards. Jayce's champion spell is Shock Blast. 6 mana slow, deal 3 to an enemy or the enemy nexus, and 3 to another. People are underrating this card, I think. I think this is very, very strong. I'm going to give an example right now that might change your mind immediately, and that's Decimate. Decimate is a 5 mana slow speed spell that deals 4 to the enemy nexus. This is 1 more mana, and you can deal 3 to the enemy nexus and 3 to another minion. That is very good value, and with Jayce on the board, that could be deal 6 to the nexus and deal 6 to a minion. Also, it helps him level. Also, this is great synergy with Lux, because if you use 3 on the Nexus and 3 on the minion, and then you get the Lux Laser, you deal 4 more damage potentially. That is insane value and will absolutely help you close out a game. I think this card is very strong, and I think you're going to main deck at least 2 of those if you play a Jayce deck. Next is the Forge Chief. Strike, refill 1 spell mana as 1 mana 2/1. Another insanely powerful card, actually. I think this card is so strong. It's comparable to the Shell Shocker, the 2/1 with Attune, but this card, if this is played on turn 1 and it attacks the Nexus and goes unanswered, you're almost guaranteed to refill 2 spell mana. And that's going to be so powerful in Piltover decks. Also, if your opponent tries to remove this card, you're still trading 1 card for 1 card because they have to deal with the threat. That's removal that they might not have later. So I think this card is going to see play for sure in Jayce decks. And, well, I'm saying in Jayce decks, but I actually think it's more likely that this goes into other Piltover deck. Like, I would love this in my Victor deck. So often, I go to turn 4 with no spell mana, and then I can't play Victor's Hex Core, so I don't even want to play Victor. With this card, that could change everything. Next, we have the Pharaohs Financier. 2 mana 2/2, play, manifest a 6-cost spell from your region. Again, incredibly powerful card. We've all seen how powerful the Conchologist can be, where you manifest a spell that costs 3 or less from your region. This is basically the other end, where you manifest a spell that costs 6 or more. Most of the time, though, I think these cards are not going to be that good, and especially if you play Piltover and Demacia, there's not that many good cards that you can hit. But still, I think this card is absolutely going to be played just for the value, just to maybe get like some discard fodder. We are in Piltover after all, and creating cards, especially manifesting cards, is just insanely powerful, which makes it almost certain that this card is going to see play. Next, we have the Hextech Handler. 3 mana 3/2 tech. Grant tech allies everywhere +1/+1 once you've cast a 6-cost spell this game. If you play this after you cast a 6-cost spell, this will be a 4/3 by the way, because it's already a tech. 3 mana 4/3 with quick attack is insanely powerful. I think this is, again, this is going to be an insane card. The Jayce package so far looks incredible to me. It is definitely playing for value a lot, which isn't always like the best thing in the meta. We have seen zoo decks succeed, like Poppy Ziggs. I don't think it's a bad thing for the game, but in general, I like it when a deck is really dedicated to doing one specific thing. And Jayce decks really look to be going all in on that 6+ cost spell synergy. So we'll have to see if that is good enough. My favorite application for this card is most likely going to be activating it with a Glorious Evolution, making your entire deck tech units and then giving them +1/+1 and augment with the Hextech Handler. That's going to be the dream, and I'm gonna play until I get that dream. The Pharaohs Sky Cruiser, a 4 mana 2/4, grant me +2/+0 once you've cast a 6+ cost spell this game. So this is the potential of being a 4 mana 4/4 elusive, which is pretty powerful. I think that this card might not really have a home in Jayce decks though. It seems a little bit too awkward, and I don't really think you care about a 4/4. I could be wrong, but in general, we've just not really seen cards like this succeed. We have the Mirai Songstress, I think it is, the 2 mana 3/2 that gets elusive if you cast a spell. I was expecting that card to be broken, and this seems to be almost strictly worse. It is in a different region though, so I could be wrong. But I'm not seeing this one. It looks really strong on paper, but I don't think this is going to be main deckable. Albus Pharaoh, 7 mana 6/5. When I'm summoned, draw Jayce. So it's the boat Pharaohs. Attack, deal 1 to the enemy nexus for each 6+ cost spell you've cast this game. Increase it by 1. This looks extremely powerful to me. And I love that this actually does more than just drawing your champion. This is basically, I don't really know what to compare this to, because you can't really compare it to the Dad Jarvan. You can't really compare it to the boats either. I think that, no, actually, that is the closest comparison. Just something like Leviathan or Dreadway. Because when you attack with this Albus Pharaohs with the boat, you're going to do a ton of damage and you're going to be able to close out the game. When you have Jayce on board and you cast Jayce's Ascension Gate, Albus Pharaohs already has quick attack, so he's going to get 2 random keywords, and it increases his ability by 1 more damage. That's going to be very powerful. So I can see this card seeing play as a 1 or 2 of in Jayce decks for sure. Eventually it'll probably be cut because we just don't really see any of the slow boats right now that draw champions, unless they have an effect that immediately helps you win the game and synergizes with their champion, like Dreadway doubles the damage of Gangplank's ability, and all other minions too, by the way. Leviathan helps you stunlock. The Dad Jarvan boat just isn't really good enough because you have to play him and then hope you get to attack with him. So maybe this isn't good enough, actually. It's a fantastic card. It looks really cool. But again, I'm going to be realistic and think it's not going to be main deckable. 3 mana landmark, the Forge of Tomorrow. When I am summoned, summon a Forge Worker. When you cast a 6+ cost spell, destroy me and refill your spell mana. When you destroy this landmark, it basically pays for itself in spell mana. And a Forge Worker is a vanilla 3 mana 3/3. This card seems broken. I think this card is going to be played in so many decks that have even 3 6+ cost spells. Placing a landmark and getting a 3/3 with it, and then having a potential upside later, is so good. I don't think you'd even mind destroying a landmark like this with a card like Desert Naturalist, or any of the Zig spells like the Unleashed Energy. This just looks so good, and it's going to enable so many strategies. It's simple, but it's so good at what it does. Assembly Line is a 6 mana spell that summons 2 Forge Workers. So for 6 mana slow speed, you get 2 3/3s. Again, this card is going to enable Jayce so well. We have seen cards like Remembrance being played, and I think on average, this is just better than almost everything you get from the Remembrance. The Forge Workers are 3/3s too, so they are fearsome blockers, and that is a big deal too. While we have seen some buffs to make other 3/3 cards go to 3/4s, so this doesn't actually trade into everything anymore, I still think to enable Jayce, it's going to be 3 cards in a deck just to get him going. Pretty funny when you have Jayce on the board too, you just summon 4 Forge Workers. It seems like a pretty good way to develop a board. Hextech Anomaly. Am I saying that right? Anomaly. Yeah. 6 mana, focus speed. When you draw or create me in hand or each round start, while I'm in your hand, transform me into a random 6+ cost spell. So I don't think the fact that this is focus speed matters at all because it's going to be a random spell every time. Pretty interesting. I would probably play this in my Victor Jayce deck because it's going to be a created card, I'm assuming, when it transforms. So there is some synergy there, but it's completely random. So it could be anything. It's not even like the manufacturer that gives you a 6+ cost spell from your regions. I mean, this is not main deckable. I would probably put in 1 as a meme because I'm sometimes gonna get Fielder Rush. But besides that, I don't see this as much of a use. This seems way too random, and I think that is not what you want to have in a deck if you're trying to win consistently. Okay, so by now, all the cards have loaded, and to give my general impression, I really think that Jayce has a very good chance of making a competitive deck. It's going to depend on how fast the meta is right now. And I don't think it's super fast. It's somewhere in the middle. And I think if you're not too fast, not too slow, this is a perfect deck to actually try out because you do need some time to set up your 6+ cost spells to make Jayce go off and potentially Lux go off, assuming that that's the best deck that she goes into. But when that happens, you're going to be so powerful. In Demacia, it's not going to be very difficult protecting Jayce. And when you do, and you get those double casts on the 6+ cost spells, you're looking at a Karma in Piltover. And that's going to win games very, very fast. We have seen Shellfolk decks running Glorious Evolution. And while I don't really think that Jayce has a home in a Shellfolk deck, he would certainly also fit in a value kind of list that runs Bandle City and Piltover and plays in almost the exact same way. It's not very lore friendly, but I do think that Jayce would do very well in a deck with Glorious Evolution. He has so many ways to build the board and make use of the augment that you get on all the units. And then with his Ascension Gate, which should be here now. No, it's still not loading. Okay, so I'll edit that in or something. When you have the Ascension Gate and you can get it off, you're going to win the game instantly because of cards like the Assembly Line and the Forge of Tomorrow. Just building a board for you almost instantly and preserving your spell mana at the same time. So in total, this entire package, I would give it 3.5 out of 5 because I don't think this is going to be a very high tier 1 deck, but I think it can stand up to a lot of meta decks and do very well against them. We're not really seeing any denies or Rite of Negations in the meta right now, so you're going to be able to cast those spells almost every time, and you're going to enable your Jayce and your Lux and maybe your Victor, and you're going to have a really good time because these cards look awesome. Also, I really want to know what you guys think about Arcane, if you've seen it, and these cards. Did you play League of Legends? Was Arcane and Runeterra your first venture into the world of Runeterra? Because if it was, then this should make you more excited for Jayce, right? Because you've seen him in Arcane, and now you know that he's coming to Runeterra. I've played Jayce a lot in regular League of Legends, so knowing that he exists and knowing what he does and with his iconic hammer, it's super cool seeing him come to the game. And he is pretty much exactly what I'd expect from a champion like Jayce. But I really want to know what that kind of excitement is like for somebody that hasn't played League, but now has another way to see champions before they come into the game. Also, tell me if you enjoy these type of videos. Did I miss anything with the cards that you've just seen? I look forward to reading the comments and look forward to the video tomorrow because it's going to be a very, very good one. Probably my favorite video that I've uploaded in a while. So I hope to see you guys there.